Story 1. Escape from the drug trafficking turmoil in Mexico. It was supposed to be a dream vacation in the heart of Mexico, a secluded villa nestled among the lush greenery of the countryside. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the rugged terrain, as I sipped on a margarita by the pool. But little did I know that my peaceful retreat would soon turn into a nightmare beyond imagination. As the night descended, a sense of unease crept over me. I brushed it off as mere paranoia, blaming it on the unfamiliar surroundings. However, my unease soon turned into terror when the sound of distant gunshots pierced the stillness of the night. My heart raced as I realized that we were not alone in this remote paradise. I peered out into the darkness, my eyes straining to see beyond the veil of night. Shadows danced ominously in the moonlight, and a sense of impending doom settled over me like a suffocating shroud. Suddenly, a group of masked men emerged from the shadows, their faces twisted into cruel sneers. They were armed to the teeth, their weapons glinting menacingly in the dim light. Panic seized me as I realized that we had stumbled into the territory of a ruthless drug cartel. The villa we had rented was not just a vacation home. It was a stronghold for the cartel's illicit activities. We were intruders in their world, and they would not hesitate to eliminate us to protect their secrets. I grabbed my partner, urging them to flee into the night. We ran blindly through the dense foliage, the sound of pursuit echoing in our ears. Branches clawed at our skin, drawing blood as we pushed ourselves to the limits of endurance. Fear fueled our flight, the primal instinct for survival overriding all rational thought. Just when we thought we had escaped the clutches of the cartel, we stumbled upon a grisly sight that froze our blood. A makeshift graveyard lay before us, the earth freshly turned, and crude crosses marking the resting places of the cartel's victims. The stench of death hung heavy in the air, and we knew that we were not out of danger yet. Desperation lent wings to our feet as we raced towards the nearest town, praying for salvation from the horrors that pursued us. The night seemed endless, the darkness a living entity that sought to consume us whole. And just when we thought we could go no further, the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, bathing the landscape in an eerie glow. We stumbled into the town, our bodies bruised and battered, our minds scarred by the terrors we had witnessed. The locals looked at us with pity and fear, knowing all too well the dangers that lurked in the shadows of the night. We were just another pair of tourists who had narrowly escaped the clutches of death in the drug-trafficking turmoil of Mexico. As we boarded the first flight out of that cursed land, I knew that the nightmares of that fateful night would haunt me forever. The specter of the cartel's wrath would follow me wherever I went, a grim reminder of the thin line between paradise and hell. And as the plane soared into the boundless sky, I offered a silent prayer of thanks for our miraculous escape from the jaws of death. Anonymous Spectator Story. Story 2. Confrontation at Death Road Cabin in a Remote Location.
Você decidiu alugar uma cabana isolada nas montanhas para escapar da agitação da cidade e desfrutar de um retiro tranquilo. A cabana estava localizada em uma estrada remota conhecida como Death Road, cercada por uma densa floresta que sussurrava segredos antigos. Assim que você chegou, uma sensação de inquietação tomou conta de você, mas você ignorou, atribuindo-a ao cansaço da viagem. A cabana era rústica, com móveis antigos e um cheiro de mofo pairando no ar. À noite, o silêncio era ensurdecedor, apenas quebrado pelo crepitar da lareira. Uma noite, enquanto você estava lendo um livro na sala de estar, um som estranho ecoou do lado de fora. Parecia o ranger de passos lentos se aproximando da cabana. Seu coração acelerou quando você percebeu que estava sozinho e longe de qualquer ajuda. Com cuidado, você se levantou e foi até a janela, mas não viu nada além da escuridão da floresta. O som dos passos continuava, cada vez mais próximo, ecoando na sua mente como um presságio sombrio. Decidido a enfrentar o intruso, você pegou uma lanterna e saiu pela porta da frente. A floresta estava envolta em uma escuridão opressiva, e a luz da lanterna mal conseguia penetrar nas sombras densas. Os passos agora estavam tão próximos que você podia sentir a respiração pesada de alguém atrás de você. Com o coração na garganta, você se virou lentamente, iluminando a lanterna na direção do som. O que você viu fez seu sangue gelar nas veias. Um homem alto e esguio, com olhos vazios e um sorriso sinistro, estava parado a poucos metros de distância, observando você com uma expressão malévola. Sem dizer uma palavra, o intruso avançou na sua direção, movendo-se de uma maneira desumana. Instintivamente, você recuou, tropeçando nas raízes expostas no chão. O homem se aproximou rapidamente, cada passo ecoando como um tambor no silêncio da noite. Desesperado, você correu de volta para a cabana, trancando a porta atrás de você. O intruso bateu com força, fazendo a cabana tremer com o impacto. Você se encolheu em um canto, rezando para que a manhã chegasse logo e afastasse essa ameaça. A noite passou lentamente, com o intruso rondando a cabana como uma sombra sinistra. Quando os primeiros raios de sol iluminaram o céu, o homem desapareceu na floresta, deixando para trás apenas o eco dos seus passos. Até hoje, você não consegue esquecer o encontro aterrorizante na cabana da Death Road. O que quer que tenha sido aquele intruso, uma coisa é certa: ele não era deste mundo.
Anonymous Spectator Story. Story 3. Desperate Hunt in Remote Cabin. The Intruders Escape. As I sat alone in the dimly lit cabin, surrounded by the eerie silence of the remote woods, a sense of unease crept over me. The crackling of the fireplace was the only sound breaking the stillness of the night. I had come here seeking solace, a break from the chaos of the world, but little did I know that my peaceful retreat would soon turn into a nightmare. The cabin, nestled deep in the heart of the forest, was a place of solitude and tranquility, or so I had thought. But as the hours passed, a feeling of dread began to settle in the pit of my stomach. It was as though the very walls of the cabin were closing in on me, suffocating me with their oppressive presence. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just my imagination running wild in the darkness. But then I heard it, a faint rustling outside, like footsteps treading softly on the fallen leaves. My heart skipped a beat as I realized I was not alone. Panic gripped me as I frantically searched for a weapon, my hands trembling as I clutched a fireplace poker. I crept towards the window, my breath catching in my throat as I peered outside. In the moonlight, I saw them, shadowy figures moving stealthily through the trees, their faces obscured by masks. I knew then that I was being hunted, that these intruders had come with malicious intent. With a sinking feeling, I realized that I was their prey, trapped in this isolated cabin with no one to hear my cries for help. As the night wore on, the intruders closed in, their presence growing ever closer, ever more menacing. I could hear them whispering in the darkness, their voices low and sinister. They were toying with me, relishing in my fear, knowing that escape was futile. Desperation clawed at my chest as I realized the gravity of my situation. I was alone, outnumbered and outmatched. But something inside me refused to surrender to the terror that threatened to consume me. With a newfound resolve, I made a decision. I would not go down without a fight. Gripping the poker tightly, I waited in the shadows, my heart pounding in my ears. And then, as the door creaked open and the intruders stepped inside, I sprang into action. The cabin erupted into chaos as we clashed in a frenzied struggle, the air thick with the sounds of violence and desperation. In the end, when the dust settled and the intruders lay defeated at my feet, I realized that I had faced my deepest fears and emerged victorious. The night had been a harrowing ordeal, a test of my will and courage. But as the first light of dawn broke through the trees, I knew that I had survived the desperate hunt in the remote cabin. Anonymous Spectator Story.